As soon as possible, I'll be in touch with the families of the victims that are here. As you know, one is deceased and 4 are fighting for their lives at Grady Hospital, and we're prayerful that they pull through. And as soon as possible, I will reach out to them and to their families. All are women. And I am also making sure that you know that we are dealing with someone that is armed and dangerous. This is a deadly situation. This individual has just indeed conducted an act that we want to make sure that you know that if you see him, do not approach, but you are to call 911. We are also making sure that you know that law enforcement agencies across this region are working together. Law enforcement agencies of Fulton County, of the City of Atlanta, of Cobb County, of our college campuses, our Atlanta Public Schools PD, a number of agencies are working in a concerted effort to work and to bring this suspect in and to make sure that we are all safe in the process. And so I ask that again, if you see the individual that you have seen his face, you've seen his photo and his clothing, please do not approach, but do call 911. So now I am very confident that the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department and the other local agencies are well trained to make sure that we bring this individual to justice for situations just like this. So now I'll turn it over to Chief Shearbaum to give you all the specific details about this incident and to let you know our pathway forward. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. First of all, the Atlanta Police Department wants to extend its condolences for all members of the Atlanta Police Department, those that lost their lives today, and we are working digitally to bring this individual into custody. We are looking for Deon Patterson, age 24 years of age, which we have given you his photo, and this is a very active search. We are following up on credible leads that are currently active in Cobb County, as well as some that are right here in the city. We have been joined by multiple jurisdictions. We have the Sheriff of Fulton County that is here right now, that's been working alongside our department, Georgia Tech PD, Georgia State University PD, MARTA PD, the Georgia State Patrol, the GBI, the FBI, the Secret Service, as well as the Atlanta Public Schools Police are all actively involved searching as we speak for Mr. Patterson. And here's what we know. We'll be able to give you some information and others will be delivered as this investigation continues. At 12:08 this afternoon, we were called just down the street to 1110 West Peachtree. This is a medical facility, the Northside Hospital, that is at that location. This shooting did occur inside the waiting room of that medical facility, where 5 individuals were shot. Unfortunately, a 39-year-old female has lost her life, and of those that are injured is a 71-year-old female, a 56-year-old female, a 39-year-old female, and then a 25-year-old female. We do know that Mr. Patterson, our suspect, left the building. We believe he carjacked a vehicle a short distance away and was able to flee the scene as the law enforcement agencies were descending on this area. And we believe he has left the area. He may not still be in that vehicle. So I don't want everyone to be focused on the vehicle, which has been recovered. So the photograph that has been distributed, for your viewers, your listeners, to be very mindful of that photograph. If you see this individual who may or may not still be in the same hoodie, please call 911 right away or use Crime Stoppers to be able to provide an anonymous tip to where he may be. As the mayor said, we have a multi-jurisdictional effort underway to bring this individual to justice and ensure that we remove him from the street. Everyone consider him still armed and presenting a danger to whatever community he may find himself in at this time.
Chief, how did this start? I mean, what preceded the shot?
You know, we're just hours into this investigation. So investigators are behind us in the buildings, talking to witnesses, processing the scene as we speak. The clarity that I think that we would want to know as a city and as a society, we just don't have at this particular moment, but we'll provide it as soon as we have it.
Were the victims patients? Were they employees of Northside Hospital?
That is still being worked through. We weren't in a position at this time to say whether they're patients or whether they're employees or both.
Did you confirm that the shooter's mother is one of the victims?
We believe the vehicle has been recovered. That is correct.
Chief, can you confirm that the shooter's mother is one of the victims?
Right now, the shooter's mother was not injured in this incident. Is the information we have.
Whether this was targeted, you know, you said all 5 victims were women. Is it?
We just don't know. It is still too soon to know why these individuals were chosen.
Can you confirm that? Chief, can you confirm that the suspect's mother is talking to you, that she's been cooperative?
The family is being cooperative with us, and as other witnesses as well at the scene.
Have they shared anything about his mental health?
Nothing that we can reveal at this time.
Any priors with law enforcement?
There has been minimal contact with the Atlanta Police Department from this individual. I can report that.
Where was the vehicle found?
I can't get that out right now.
Can you tell us about people calling in and giving tips and what that's been like so far? Because obviously you pushed the image out early. What has that been like so far with people calling?
You know, yes, thank you, Mayor. The mayor has been watching this manhunt unfold at our command post, and he is very aware that cameras across the city have been instrumental in us tracking this individual. He's very aware that as we get information that's called in by citizens, we're able to use the camera network to quickly go to that location even before officers arrive. So it's helpful, and we ask citizens to continue to do that. To call in.
And that $10,000 reward, are you guys hoping that people will be a little more active in terms of calling 911 and getting out some?
We know it will be helpful, but I can tell you the civic-minded citizens of this city are already responding. And even without that request for a reward, they're already having calls. That's coming in.
Where in the medical center did the shooting?
We don't have that specifics yet. It was on an upper level, I believe the 11th floor of the building.
What did the White House say about this?
Chief, you mentioned that the vehicle had been recovered. Is that the only vehicle that is suspected to be involved in this incident, or are there others? We're hearing from hospital workers that there was another car that may have been involved prior to the one that was recovered.
In any vehicle that we're confident in connecting to this crime, we've already released. As that changes, we may provide other vehicle information.
Was the vehicle
and we'll do that as quickly as we can.
Was the vehicle carjacked in the garage?
It was not.
Chief, you talk about the challenge
the gun was used?
Last
Can you give us any information on the gun that was used?
So right now the gun is not in the possession of law enforcement, and we're actively looking for the gun as we are the individual.
Mr. Mayor, what does the White House say?
What does the
White House told you?
The White House just offered their support and wanted to know if anything they could do to help in this situation. And the White House is constantly in contact with my office to, offer us support and see if we need anything.
Chief, the challenge of the initial response.
Touched by this kind of
Chief, the challenge of the initial response is Midtown. You're in a high population density here. Buildings have to be searched. What was it like initially when we got a call, shots fired?
I think the citizens of Atlanta saw their police department and our partner agencies in action. We went into that building and cleared every single floor. Even when information came about that the subject could have left, we were still searching for victims. We were assisting citizens out of the building that had taken shelter. And I do want to thank everyone in Midtown that honored the shelter-in-place request for their patience to allow us to do our job. This is an urban environment, so it does present challenges, but it's challenges that you saw a collective, robust response from law enforcement. But the camera network that's in this location was very helpful and did assist in the investigation.
Chief, were there hundreds of people in the building? How many people were?
Won't be able to give that information.
Was the shooting captured on surveillance video inside of
Won't be able to give that at this time.
Can you handle what it feels like to have Atlanta be the latest city in America touched by this kind of gun violence?
I will say this, our public affairs unit has been pushing out quick information to you all. We will continue to do that. Follow our social media platforms and be in contact with our website as soon as we have an updated information, be it vehicles, a new clothing description. You all will have it, and the citizens of this city will have it.
Thank you,
thank you all.
Thank
you, Chief.
Thank
you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Will you guys have another outage?
Okay, you're hearing there from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and Atlanta Police Department Chief Darren Shearbon on the activities that transpired today. They are still searching for this gunman.
Yeah, I thought that
he
part
has
was
not been
important
captured
too,
yet.
pointing out there with the
24-year-old
mayor
Matt Patterson, but we did get some more critical information about the victims involved in all of this.
The mayor saying that all of the victims were women. The police chief telling us that the age of the victim that was fatally shot was 39 years old. There was a 71-year-old female, 56-year-old, another 39-year-old, and a 25-year-old. All female shooting victims of the suspect who opened fire this afternoon, according to the mayor, at 12:08 this afternoon in the North Side Hospital Medical Building on West Peachtree Street, where all of this happened in the first place, in one of the offices there. Interesting question at the end. One of the reporters asked, did we have surveillance from inside where this shooting happened? And so you can imagine they're combing through all of the surveillance that is available to them.
Yeah, and Chief Shearbon emphasizing the importance of the public's help in all of this and pushing out the image of that suspected shooter immediately. desperately they really need, and is asking for the public to give them any information if they know their whereabouts. They've got a $10,000 reward with Crime Stoppers with information that leads to Deion Patterson's arrest. But Chief Shearbaum saying this is a multi-jurisdictional effort. Not only are they have an active investigation in Fulton County, but also in Cobb County as well. They have not located the weapon involved in all of this. All of these critical pieces to try to piece together what went down today.
Well, you're talking about a multi-agency response. We're talking about Atlanta Police. He mentioned MARTA Police, the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, Cobb County Police, Smyrna Police, even the Secret Service. Now, on the federal level, we understand are involved in this investigation and the search for this suspect, who police asked us to keep his picture on the screen as much as possible. Mayor Dickens going to extreme lengths to say if you see him, do not approach. Those were the mayor's words. However, call 911 immediately. The mayor saying that they've been in contact with the White House, who is offering any resource that they can.
Yeah, clearly this is making national news, as so many people. We just heard from Senator Raphael Warnock speaking about this on the Senate floor earlier today, and calling on his colleagues again to come up with some sort of gun reform legislation to change all of this. I was looking at the stats earlier. There have been 188 plus now mass shootings in the United States. 21 of those shootings involved 5 or more fatalities. So this is obviously a big issue, not only on the political front, but just also in our communities. Senator Warnock saying 87% of Americans believe that we must have universal background checks when it comes to gun reform. So we are certainly going to hear more about this and what can be done on a congressional level, on a legislative level, to make things better. Because again, I mean, we just covered a mass shooting in Texas just this week, and now here we are in Atlanta.
It is happening far, far too often. When you think of shooting situations here in Atlanta, 2 others come to mind. The one that happened back in August, where not too far from this shooting scene, a female suspect carried out another fatal shooting in the same area and wound up at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, was really captured within 2 hours of carrying out the shooting. Based on images that they were receiving on camera, they were able to use facial recognition technology and track her down there in the terminal of Hartsfield-Jackson.
Like the UK,
and then, of course, who can forget
back
in 2005, the Fulton County Courthouse shooting, where Brian Nichols murdered the judge and several others. He was on the run for more than 24 hours. There was a large-scale manhunt to capture him, but in the end, both that female suspect back in August and Nichols were caught, and authorities are confident that the suspect who carried out the shooting today will be captured.
Yeah, the mayor also saying that he's going to be making an effort to speak with the victims' families in all of this. They certainly have to be heartbroken, shaken, anxious, upset about all that happened today with some of their relatives still at Grady under critical care right now. I'm certain they would be appreciative of any kind of kind words and support that they can get, not only from the city but from the county as well. And again, this is spanning multiple jurisdictions, with Cobb County also among the agencies investigating this. They believe Deion Patterson fled on foot in the Cobb County area. How he was able to get away from that area so quickly with as fast as how authorities responded to that scene, it's critical that again the public is active in all of this and helping give authorities any clue they might have to where this person might be.
Yeah, one of the questions Police Chief Derek Shearbaum was asked by one of the reporters was, did the suspect carjack somebody in the parking garage of the Northside Hospital building? And he said no, he did not, which means that at some point after the shooting took place at 12:08 p.m., according to authorities, Patterson then allegedly, presumably, carjacked somebody in the nearby area, and according to investigators, got on the highway and headed up I-75 to Cobb County, and in the Smyrna area, where the investigation suddenly shifted. And in between there, Christine, somewhere, we heard of shots fired on Ponce de Leon Avenue and Peachtree. Now, Whether those two situations are connected,
yeah,
there's
certainly no mention of it here at this presser.
I would have been
today.
interested for one of the reporters to ask what that situation was all about.
Absolutely, and again, this is a big city that could just very well be just another unfortunate shooting that took place in a different area, not related to this. Okay, so we're getting word now in our ear. We're getting word now in our ear that Peachtree and Ponce was not a shooting. There was a vehicle accident there involving an officer. Is what
we
we're
had
being
heard from
told.
police that might have been
police on the scene. Our Deidre Dukes heard them say shots fired at Peachtree and Ponce. So we've got that cleared up. So that's definitely good. But it was interesting to hear when asked about whether Deion Patterson had any other run-ins with police. It doesn't seem that appears to be the case. Darren Shearbaum's answer was that there was minimal contact with authorities. So there's just not a lot of information out there that we know so far about this suspect, but they're hoping people are cooperative.
Something that was brought up and is quite mysterious is whether the suspect's mother was either with him or had been informed of the situation. And Chief Shearbaum said that he didn't know if the mother had been informed or but that presumably she was not with him in the clinic, because you start wondering about the whys of this situation. You try to get yourself inside the head of somebody who might do something like this, as impossible as that might be. It's nearly impossible to wrap your arms around it, but you chase down every single lead. Why are all the victims female? Is it just coincidental, or was he targeting someone or something?
Or maybe it was a medical office that treats female patients.
Yeah.
You just, again, these are just all questions that I'm sure authorities are also asking and trying to get the answer to, piecing this all together. But we're appreciative of the information that they gave to us, because we know you, the public, wants to know what is happening in your communities.
Yeah, the chief encouraging folks to stay with local news channels like Fox 5 as we continue to provide you information on what's happening here, but to also stay in touch with their social media channels. Depend on, of course, our news platforms, fox5atlanta.com, and our news app, where we've been piping information nearly instantaneously as it happens throughout the day since this thing unfolded just after noontime today.
Yeah, again, authorities just want you to be on the lookout for this individual. It was really striking to see him armed in some of those surveillance images, actually pointing his gun. Appeared to be the moment when that shooting happened, but surveillance just so critical in all of this, being able to not only capture his face, but you could see what he was wearing, the gray hoodie, the pants, the brown satchel that was strapped across his shoulder. Just key details that you might maybe have spotted him at some point earlier this afternoon and not realized that this was a wanted man. But 24-year-old Deion Patterson, again, being sought after right now. It is a critical situation that he is found, because, again, he is considered armed and dangerous, not only causing the shooting at Midtown, but, again, bold enough to potentially carjack someone to try to get away from authorities. This is not someone who's trying to turn after right now. It is a critical situation that he is found, because, again, he is considered armed and dangerous, not only causing the shooting at Midtown, but, again, bold enough to potentially carjack someone to try to get away from authorities. This is not someone who's trying to turn themselves in.
You have been watching Fox 5 continuing coverage of this breaking news situation in Midtown Atlanta. Our coverage continues right now.
There you go.
Fox 5 News at 4 starts.
Like I say, any breaking news, we'll jump on it.
Our live breaking news coverage continues here on Fox 5 News at 4 as police investigate an active shooting in Midtown Atlanta. Four people wounded, one person is dead, and now the massive manhunt for the person behind the trigger.
Yeah, this is breaking news that we have covered for hours all afternoon today, and it's continuing to unfold as we speak. It was just a chaotic scene that unfolded earlier this afternoon.
Police have named the suspect 24-year-old Deion Patterson. Just over an hour, Crime Stoppers announced that it is also offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to an arrest.
I'm just going to keep it rolling. I got to step away. Keep it rolling here.
People were just so frightened when they
keep
left
updates
the building
going.
here. All of this starting at 12:08 when Patterson opened fire inside the building at Northside Hospital, Midtown, on West Peachtree Street between 12th and 13th Street. We have have live team coverage with reporters covering all angles of this. We begin first in Midtown Atlanta with Fox 5's Deidre Dukes. Deidre.
Yeah, the shelter in place lifted here just within the past hour, but this is still a very active crime scene, active investigation underway. Police holding a news conference just a short time ago telling us, and I'll step out of the way so you can see the police activity that is still ongoing here, telling us that right now they are interviewing witnesses and gathering evidence here. So this area still does remain closed off to traffic. All of that going on here as the search does continue for the suspect considered armed and dangerous. Very active here as police say they are following leads in Fulton and Cobb County. Several police agencies involved in the search for 24-year-old Dion Patterson. Dion Patterson identified as the suspect who opened fire here at Northside Hospital here on the 1100 block of West Peachtree just after noon in a waiting room here, shooting 5 people, one we are told deceased, 4 fighting for their lives, all women. People being told to call 911 if they see this individual, to not approach him right now, actively searching for this individual. We have more from police, and also we talked to someone who was there at the hospital when those shots rang out.
At 12:08 this afternoon, we were called just down the street to 1110 West Peachtree. This is a medical facility, the Northside Hospital. That is at that location. This shooting did occur inside the waiting room of that medical facility, where 5 individuals were shot. Unfortunately, a 39-year-old female has lost her life, and of those that are injured is a 71-year-old female, a 56-year-old female, a 39-year-old female, and then a 25-year-old female. We do know that Mr. Patterson, our suspect, left the building. We believe he carjacked a vehicle a short distance away and was able to flee the scene as the law enforcement agencies were descending on this area. And we believe he has left the area. He may not still be in that vehicle. So I don't want everyone to be focused on the vehicle, which has been recovered. So the photograph that has been distributed, for your viewers, your listeners, to be very mindful of that photograph. If you see this individual who may or may not still be in the same hoodie, please call 911 right away.
I walked out and it seemed like I heard a loud noise, sound like a gun, but I wasn't close enough to actually believe that I heard it. So when I walked outside of Whole Foods, because I go through from my building, the Icon, to Whole Foods, when I walked out of the building, all I seen was police cars and SWAT, and everybody's just pulling up, back to back. And my supervisor was right there at the time, and he was like, hey, make sure you stay close to the walls and stand back because we heard this active shooter.
You're hearing it there, just the chaos that unfolded in the moments following that shooting here, as that suspect was apparently, we know now, making his way out of here, as police say they were responding to the scene, that individual carjacking a vehicle and making his way out of the Atlanta area. At some point, that vehicle pinging in Cobb County. Now, Mayor Andre Dickens, Atlanta Mayor Dickens, also speaking today, saying that he has spoke to the governor and to our congressional delegation, as well as spoken to the White House about what unfolded here today, saying that they have offered their condolences and offering their assistance as well as need be. Once again, this individual is considered armed and dangerous. A $10,000 reward is being offered for his capture. We are live in Midtown. Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
It's almost as if that witness didn't want to almost believe that he was hearing shots on the 11th floor. It's just so startling to have heard that. Deidre, thanks so much.
Extraordinary eyewitness sound and an extraordinary response on the federal, state, and local level. Let's get out to Fox 5's Eric Perry, who is standing in front of that building where this shooting was carried out today, just after noontime. Eric, you also spoke to some people who worked in that building and actually heard the shots as they rang out.
Yeah, and when I talked to several of the people who were inside that medical building, from what they're telling me, they describe it as a family. They're describing it as my building. So, of course, they are feeling this immensely. I do want to show you where I am. I'm at Spring and 14th Street. It's where I've been for hours. Of course, it has thinned out just a little bit, but you can still see a lot of Atlanta police here. And then up there, you can see where their command center is as well. Again, I talked to a lot of those doctors, those physicians, those nurses who are coming out of that building. Take a listen. One man said he was in surgery. The second person said that he initiated what was called a silver alert, and that is really to them what an active shooter it signifies for those staff members there. Take a listen.
I mean, first thing you do is you try to accomplish what I came for, which is just to do an operation. And then other than that, I just kind of thought, I could be in a shooting today. And I just kind of followed the directions of the officers, and they kept us safe, and it wasn't really an issue. So I just thank God that nothing more came of it up to this point. Hopefully they'll apprehend them pretty swiftly.
I was on lunch break, so I was taking a walk around the building on a work call, and I noticed a bunch of just APD, Atlanta police officers, running into the front lobby of the building, and they were drawing their pistols. So I started walking towards that area to see what was going on, and as I was walking up, a whole slew of officers and police cars pulled up, and more officers started running in with pulled AR-51s, and I then was worried about what was happening in my building.
Yeah, if we can bring back out here live, it looks like what just went by was one of the SWAT vehicles from Fulton County Sheriff's Office. We saw some men on the back of that, but they went back up to where the location of that shooting happened. That last man you heard from, Dr. Ali, he is a radiation oncologist. He says that when they walked out, they found one of those cars. It had a bullet through it, windshields busted out from a gunshot. They said they believe that it might have been one of the cars that the suspect tried to get into unsuccessfully. He said that it belonged to one of the people on the floors. He says this happened on the 11th floor here. Here's what we're working on right now. There is a scene kind of diagonal from me. I've been watching. Atlanta Police has that parking lot taped off. They said that, thank you so much, Zorn, for zooming around to it. You can see they've been processing this scene for a while. We're trying to pin down exactly where that carjacking happened. I've sent that to Atlanta Police. They say they have several different locations around this area, and that this is one of them. They're trying to pinpoint exactly where that car was carjacked with that suspect there, but this is just next to a Shell gas station. We've been watching this. They've been processing, and at one point this gas station was shut down as well. But back out here live, just again, a heartfelt day, a tragic day, as many of those people inside have to figure out how they move forward. But one thing is for sure, they told me they will move forward together and as a medical family. Christine, Tom.
You can understand why they were so shaken up, Eric, and we're just watching the pieces of the puzzle kind of unfold live as it's happening. So hopefully we'll get a full picture very, very soon.
Yeah, the police chief addressed where that carjacking might have happened. We know it didn't happen in the parking garage of the Northside Hospital building, but somewhere in that vicinity. So they're trying to piece together exactly what happened in the wake of that shooting.
Rob D'Arienzo is also on the ground for us as well, getting details and seeing a lot of activity that has been happening at West Peachtree and 15th. Rob, you were able to get in front of the Northside Hospital medical building. How have things looked there today?
Well, Christine, it's been an all-around chaotic and scary day for a lot of people here in Midtown. I first got word of this just around 1 p.m. today, and that's when I rushed over here. People in scrubs were clinging to each other, crying. I spoke to a woman who didn't want to be on camera a little while ago. She described just a chaotic scene inside the building. She says she was in the pharmacy portion of the Northside Medical Facility when she heard about 6 shots. She ducked for cover and then realized she had to get out of there. She says in that process that she had to step over some of the victims, including that 39-year-old woman. I want to take a step out of the way to show you what the scene's looking like right now. As you know, the attention has kind of shifted away from this scene and onto the search for the suspect. And at this point, police are continuing their investigation. We saw a medical examiner here a couple minutes ago, and they have since left, as well as some of the SWAT teams here. Now, I spoke to a man who was close by earlier. I want to give you a listen to what he had to say.
it's really, really surreal. You know, like I said, I feel like you hear about this all the time, and it doesn't, you know, cross your mind that, oh, you could be in this situation.
As a woman, been speaking with witnesses here all day, but as you can see, still a very active situation. All of West Peachtree Street remains closed off in this area. We see an ambulance trying to get by right now. It's not exactly clear when all of this will reopen, but again, a very active situation as police continue their manhunt for the suspect that killed one person here today. That's the latest from here live in Midtown. Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
Rob, thank you so much. We want to go now to Fox 5's Claire Sims, who's live at Grady Hospital.
Yeah, and Claire, we're learning more about the condition of the surviving victims rushed to that hospital. Authorities there and officials say that they were prepared for what happened today.
Yeah, in just the last 90 minutes or so, officials here at Grady Memorial Hospital gave us an update, not just on the victims who they are currently working on, but also on the hospital's response to this shooting. Now, Grady Memorial Hospital's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Robert Jansen, says as soon as they got the call about a mass casualty event, they were ready within minutes with multiple trauma surgeons and other staff ready to respond. He says they cleared other patients out of the emergency room to make space for as many as 12 victims. Although, of course, we know now that it was just 4 who were brought here to the emergency room. At one point, the hospital shut down to visitors because they said they didn't know the location of the shooter, though they have since reopened. Now, we're told family members of at least 2 of the victims are here to be with their loved ones as they are in medical care. Dr. Jansen could not say where the victims were shot, but did say, and we have now learned all 4 of them are adult females.
No other injuries occurred that we know of, and nobody was taken to any other facility. The 4 that were brought here, 3 are critical. 1 is still in the emergency department. The others are upstairs being treated. 2 in the operating room and 1 in what's called interventional radiology.
So just to give you some more information, interventional radiology is when medical professionals use imaging like x-rays or ultrasound to sort of pinpoint a problem and then go after it and fix it. So that's a little bit more detail on what's happening with at least one of those patients. Meanwhile, officials here at Grady tell us that they do hope to give us an update on those patients once they are out of surgery. We are live at Grady Memorial Hospital. Claire Sims, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, just an extraordinary response there, Claire, by surgeons and trauma officials there at Grady Memorial Hospital, as they said, prepared for what happened today and prepared for even more, though fortunately that was not the case.
Yeah, they ought to be commended for sure. We also heard from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens on today's incident. Let's take a listen.
All right, good afternoon. We are here, as you know, at the scene of a deadly situation. I'm thankful for Atlanta Police Department and other law enforcement agencies for their engagement on this situation. I've spoken to the governor, to our congressional delegation of senators and congresspeople, as well as my office has been in touch with the White House. And as soon as possible, I'll be in touch with the families of the victims that are here. As you know, 1 is deceased and 4 are fighting for their lives at Grady Hospital, and we're prayerful that they pull through. And as soon as possible, I will reach out to them and to their families. All are women. And I am also making sure that you know that we are dealing with someone that is armed and dangerous. This is a deadly situation. This individual has just indeed conducted an act that we want to make sure that you know that if you see him, do not approach, but you are to call 911. We are also making sure that you know that law enforcement agencies across this region are working together. Law enforcement agencies of Fulton County, of the City of Atlanta, of Cobb County, of our college campuses, our Atlanta Public Schools PD. A number of agencies are working in a concerted effort to work and to bring this suspect in and to make sure that we are all safe in the process. And so I ask that again, if you see the individual that you have seen his face, you've seen his photo and his clothing, please do not approach, but do call 911. So now I am very confident that the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department and the other local agencies are well trained to make sure that we bring this individual to justice for situations just like this. So now I'll turn it over to Chief Shearbaum to give you all the specific details about this incident and to let you know our pathway forward.
All right, that was sound from the mayor earlier today saying that he had been in contact with state and local officials. He spoke to the governor, the congressional delegation, and to the White House in response to what happened today. The White House offering any assistance that is needed here. Remarkably, all the victims here were female in this shooting. The other state official that responded today was our state senator, Raphael Warnock, who made some comments on the floor of the United States Senate this afternoon in the wake of the shooting, urging fellow lawmakers to take immediate action to address the nation's gun violence crisis.
We pray not only with our lips, we pray with our legs. We pray by taking action. And still there are those who want to convince us that this is the cost of freedom. To them, we have to say no.
Senator Warnock there on the Senate floor commenting about the legislation that needs to happen for gun reform. Now, our Morse Diggs was among the many reporters on the ground for us. We did tell you this was a multi-jurisdictional investigation, and he was in Cobb County with activity there.
Yeah, Morse joins us now live from the scene of where that suspect, Morse, is presumed to have ditched a vehicle that he carjacked earlier near the scene of this shooting this afternoon.
Well, earlier we heard Chief Darren Shearbaum from Atlanta say the investigation had expanded into Cobb County, one of the places. We are in Smyrna right now because my sources tell me that as Atlanta police, as they were clearing offices up and down Midtown, that this suspect had already made his way to the Smyrna area. Around Spring Road and Campbell, that area, a male driver reported being carjacked. They started to trace that vehicle through license plate readers, and they got hits on several streets, including behind me here at the Campbell Middle School. We had police officers, dozens of them, including Atlanta police officers who'd made their way up to Cobb County chasing this report, and they cleared the school to make sure that he was not here. They continue to look around the Smyrna and Cobb County area because they believe that the suspect may have carjacked more than one vehicle. I did have a chance earlier to talk to a parent who was out here when she saw all those blue lights. Here's what she had to say.
Yeah, I have elementary, middle, and high school. So that's why I actually happened to be checking my elementary child out, and I saw police cars going into the parking lot of the high school.